this list. And starting out with it's going to be the guy that we talked about, I think, about a week and a half ago, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I won't go into the long-form argument here with Jaxon as to why I believe he is going to be the breakout player. I think this is a no-duh one for many of you out there. He's been burning up minicamp. We have quotes from Seahawks scout in the building saying Jaxon just looks so different, not coming off the hamstring injury that belabored him going through the draft process. And then, of course, the broken wrist that he sustained right at the end of training camp that probably hampered a good portion of that season, if not almost all that year, to some degree or another. And those things are not going to be back at play. So you guys are hearing the calls and the shouts and the people saying this guy's going to be on the ready to explode, ready to really break out. And I do believe that all that stuff is completely valid on top of the fact that he was a former first-round pick. There is a reason they selected him here. And his skill set is the type of skill set that will work in this modern NFL. The stat that I come to with him, though, the one that I point to for folks in looking at why I think above all else, you're going to see that big jump in him, the huge move forward here. And again, it's a level up for him. So with him, I think he takes a big leap forward. He's just not a pure breakout guy because I don't know if he's going to have the number of targets to get to a 13, 14, 1,500 yard year from the receiver position because we've got an embarrassment of riches here in Seattle. And that just means that it's not going to necessarily be one guy that's out there eating a little bit more than the rest because you have to lean on him a little bit more than the rest. That's not going to have to be the case with Jaxon this year, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to be proficient, efficient, and effective. And the main stat I'm pointing to you on this one is the receiving depth chart here off of PFF. This is the real one I want to lock in on when you guys look at this chart. And what you'll notice with Jaxon Smith-Njigba last year is that you can take cumulatively, 73% of his total targets were either behind the line of scrimmage or inside 9 yards of the line of scrimmage. Now, if you maybe had just the short with the slot guy, you could understand maybe a little bit of that with having that there, but that paired up with the behind the line of scrimmage. And then when you pair it together with how effective on the deep and medium routes he was, because as you can see on those routes, 12% of the time, 14% of the time, not ran very often, but when he did run them, when he was targeted running those longer developing routes, he was very effective. The receiving grades, the receiving numbers, 3 touchdowns receiving, you can go down kind of the line on that, and it just all spells, okay, what you really want to do with this guy is, yes, utilize him for the slot stuff, but build in a little bit more of usage on getting down the football field. And in Grubb, the new offensive coordinator that we brought in, we have a guy who has, in his spread system, it is in there in the root. It is part of the root of the system that I'm going to go take a deep shot. He has it down to a percentage point. It's like 1 every 8 plays. I want to be taking a chunk play shot down the football field. And the guy that is going to, I think, get a very big upswing from that is going to be Jaxon Smith-Njigba here, where he is only going to maybe get up to about 1,000 yards, but it's going to be off 600 yards last year. It's not going to take the number of targets necessarily to get there where he's at like 10 yards receiving average. I think he'll actually have a couple yards higher as his yard average per catch, but it will be just so really efficient in how they use him and not just trying to kind of have him there to be a yak guy essentially around the line of scrimmage. So I think Jaxon Smith is going to take the uptick. I don't know if he quite gets to 1,300 yards. Maybe he is just that good. The hype coming out of this and the hype coming out of training camp last year when he was making one-handed catches and dusting everybody up in training camp at the cornerback position was undeniable, but is he going to have that opportunity to really go out there and burst at the scenes when you've got a DK, Tyler, him, Bobo, 2 great running backs, Fant? There's only so many balls, as they say, to get the targets. But still, I think he will be a very impressive player for the Seahawks this upcoming season.